You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
Well, it's one of my favorite episodes, the post-Oscars reaction show. Taylor, we're all dying to know, did you watch 1 minute of the Oscars?
I did. I probably watched maybe a collective 5 minutes.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
I'm pretty disappointed. I wanted to watch the opening monologue or the opening bit because sometimes there's more than just a monologue, and I guess Ariana Grande and the woman Cynthia L
Erivo?
whatever.
Yeah.
I guess they performed. I was watching a live stream through CTV, the website, and I don't know if it was my phone, my internet connection, or them, changing over the feed, but I probably signed on. I probably started watching at 8:05, and by then I had already missed the monologue. So I don't know what time when they sang, but it sounded like they opened the show with singing. When did the singing happen? The Wizard
Right
of Oz?
away. Yeah.
Okay.
They did like a melody from like Wizard
last
of Oz,
30
but then a
years or
bunch
something?
of bunch of other things. And they started with like a video tribute to Los Angeles.
Right.
And then
I assume because of the fires.
They brought the fires up much later. I mean, I don't know. I think it was just a, Hollywood,
right,
high on themselves
LA.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
But then it went right into the two of them singing, and they kind of sang separately, and each did like little bits, and then they came together to sing sort of a small portion of Defying Gravity, just like a very small segment of it. And that all led right into Conan, who bursted out of the back of Demi Moore.
Yeah.
And
I love the substance.
Had to go back for his shoe. So he's like searching
That's pretty
around.
good.
Yeah. So I mean, it was.
How did I miss all that in the first 5 minutes?
All that. Like, it was so packed. So did you miss his monologue then, or like when did you
caught like the last joke, literally, and
before he sang his song?
I did not. No, I did not see him sing his
song.
Okay.
So in the mid, so he had his monologue, but then he did a like a opening number song, and then he finished. So you must have popped in after, just as he was wrapping up.
I would have been like 8:06, Mike, like latest 8:06, and then he had one joke, and then Amy Poehler, she did the best writing categories. I thought she was quite funny.
That's when you started best writing.
What time did the show start at?
7:00.
Oh, I missed well over an hour.
So you actually jumped in. You jumped into Conan O'Brien's joke mid-show. That's what actually happened.
I'm thinking 8:05. I thought that the pre-show was at 7.
No, the pre-show was at 6, and the Oscars began at 7. So you missed a lot of stuff.
And I thought it's so funny because I had to go away from it for a little while, and then I came back, and not that long after, and I'm looking at I think it was The Guardian updating. I'm not sure what news outlet, but they were updating in real time all of the award winners, and I'm thinking like, I didn't miss that much of the show. Well, like, are they announcing like best supporting actor? Like, I missed Kieran Culkin's acceptance speech about children, how he's getting more kids out of his wife. So anyways, wow. Okay. So there you go. I just assumed 7:00 was the pre-show. Is that literally every year? That can't be right.
They switched it a couple years ago. This is the third year that it's been early. Yes, the Oscars traditionally started at 8, but the past couple of years they've been starting at 7 because they don't want it to go much past 11. Because of television in the East.
Sure.
Like, that's kind of the idea. So for them, it was like 4:00 in the afternoon that they started the Oscars.
That is so funny. So anyways, I missed a ton then.
You missed a lot because that, like, I think it was one of the better opening monologues that I've seen. So I found him quite good.
I found him a little awkward, but like maybe that's his shtick. I don't watch enough of his. I've never watched
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was his thing. Fine. Whatever. I thought Amy Poehler was very funny. She got a huge laugh to the point where she was kind of like, thank you. Okay, moving on. And then I saw Selena Gomez announce the documentary award. I actually didn't stay to watch who won. I thought Selena Gomez was horrible. She was paired with Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh
And
yes.
I know I I fully appreciate that it's a very different skill set announcing an award or, being an MC, whatever you want to call that portion. That's a very different skill set than being an actor on screen. But it honestly looked like she did not want to be there.
Um, well, maybe considering all the Amelia Perez stuff, she
Maybe,
didn't. But
maybe.
also, if it makes you feel any better, I think Selena Gomez is an atrocious actor. So if
Okay,
that
so
makes you
maybe
feel
that was
any better,
just
I don't think
maybe
she's
she
good
just
even when
wasn't
she's
good.
acting. Yeah, like I
And
don't think she's anything special.
she did make that joke that like Samuel L. Jackson was like, "Oh, did you get A's in school?" And she went, "No, that's why we're presenting," or whatever. Like she
Yeah,
made the
yeah,
joke
yeah.
about like not being a great actress, although I'm like, Samuel L. Jackson is a pretty good actor. So
Yes, absolutely.
watch out. But they don't write their own jokes, their own
No.
material. And then so I saw that, thought she was horrible, thought I get like the thing that I don't, so let me backtrack. Again, I want to fully acknowledge it's a different skill set. That being said, you are asked and you don't have to say yes. So if she thought she was going to be that bad or, emotional, like not happy, I don't want to even say emotional, but like she just did not seem like she wanted to be there. And it's like, if you know you're going to feel that way, don't say yes. I'm sure there's a million people who would be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm reading a teleprompter or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought she was awkward. And then the other big awkward moment, there's actually two other ones, Mike, and then I'll let you, because you actually watched the whole show and I want to hear your thoughts collectively, because I kind of came in and out. The other awkward moment was when the best song went to Amelia Perez and they started singing, or that woman started singing.
Yeah, that
while
was
the
so
music
awful.
and like I think that was her husband, and then maybe the director are
The
like trying to like
director, yeah.
pull her away, and she's
Yeah.
still singing. So cringe, so horrible, so tone deaf. And then the James Bond tribute.
I don't get why they did that, because they did a James Bond tribute a couple of years ago whenever the last movie came out, because that was a big anniversary. So I don't really understand
So
why they did it again.
I saw some headlines, and my supervisor brought this up at lunch today. Amazon has acquired the rights to James Bond, so I think this was kind of a send off, but and like a quote unquote Hollywood welcome. So essentially, just an elaborate advertising scheme to say, Amazon has probably dumped boatloads of money on this IP to get people excited. I don't think so. I switched off. I was like, I can't keep watching this. So I don't know if Amazon was mentioned at the beginning or the end, but it afterwards I heard about this Amazon connection. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's just advertising, because they often do that. Like the award presenters will be in a very roundabout way promoting an upcoming movie. So maybe that's what they were doing. I also thought it was really random that Margot Qualley was one of the dancers. Did you catch that, Mike?
Margot Qualley, but yeah,
Qualley,
yeah,
yes.
she I
Apparently
was confused.
she was a dancer. She was a dancer before she became an actress. But I thought,
okay. It was very confusing.
Why? What? Like that was strange. I thought, wow, she looks a lot like that actress from The Substance. And then afterwards, and then it turned out it was her. And I thought, again, no Bond connection. Why get an actress to be? It was just weird. It was cringe. I didn't like it. So that was my major takeaways. Finding out literally as we're discussing that I missed an hour of it unintentionally. And the stuff that I did watch was pretty embarrassing and pretty cringeworthy. So there you go. That was my hot take for the Oscars.
Yeah, like in terms of the show itself, I mean, it's tough when you're working with a variety of actors of a different kind of skill set when it comes to having to perform or get up there and like read something. Like I think they should just skip the bits and just have them get up there and read the nominees or whatever you want them to do. The things that you missed that I think were the most like interesting or the best parts of it were mainly Conan's stuff at the beginning.
Right.
Like his opening monologue was very, very good. His jokes were really funny. He took a lot of shots at a lot of things.
I did hear his Drake joke, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, the Drake joke was good. He took a good shot at Amelia Perez. And he had a song about not wasting time where people came out dressed as like Conan O'Brien statues. Sort of a double whammy. One, to look like he took over the Oscar statues, but also Trump did something similar recently. So Conan O'Brien was kind of hitting on that, and then he kept bringing out the Dune sandworm.
I did see the Dune sandworm was in the orchestra.
In the orchestra, yeah. So they brought him. That was a callback to they brought him in the beginning in the opening to play some other things. So Conan O'Brien kept doing those kinds of things. So yeah, his stuff was really good. And then you missed Kieran Culkin's speech, and you missed. So you know how some of the awards for like some of the design categories and the actor categories, they have someone go out and like say something nice about each person. Like that was something that they were doing. I don't know if you caught any of those, but
I know they did that last year. I thought it was a bit cringe and hoped they would abandon that, but they brought it back. I see
they did. They brought it back, and some of them were good, but the one was Robert Downey Jr. did the first one. The first award is Best Supporting Actor. That's traditionally what the first award is. Get a big one out right away, keep people's attention. So Robert Downey Jr. comes out, and his just you could imagine who he is, exactly what he said about each person. Like it was as if he was just saying it like there was no teleprompter. He was just freestyling about these people. And in a good way,
well, or like no, like cringe.
He was saying very good things, but you could tell he doesn't care about what the script says. He's just going to talk about each of them, and it was just Robert Downey Jr. up there talking. It was pretty funny. I thought there was funny.
I forget the exact. I forget what the category was, like who was talking last year, but it was like everyone got really heartfelt. Obviously there was like a personal connection between the actresses or the actors, and then there was one, because I think they were doing it last year, where it was a different person for each award nominee. Like I don't think it was one person for the whole category. I might be remembering am I remembering right?
Yes, and this year for costume design and a couple of the other categories, they did the same thing. They brought out one person. Another highlight, funny part, was the costume award. And this was also near the beginning. They brought out people from each of the movies that were nominated.
Right.
So you had John Lithgow up there for Conclave, and you had Bowen Yang for Wicked, who's on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And the bit they did was really funny, where all four people from the other movies came out dressed in like normal Oscars wear, but Bowen Yang came out in his costume from Wicked.
Right.
And so they did a bit like they didn't tell, like they all agreed over text.
And no he didn't get the message.
That's right. And he says something about John Lithgow being his best friend. And John Lithgow says, like, without losing a beat, I don't even know you.
Well, he's a seasoned, his timing.
Comedian.
Yeah, his timing would be amazing. That does remind me. So two things. One, what I'm recalling from last year was that everyone got like a super personal send off, and then it was very evident that the actors that got paired did not know each other, and it was so cringe. So I don't know if it happened. Okay, so that's good. And then your story about the costumes. I did see the actress from Thelma come out with ScarJo.
Said she was played by Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, she goes, I'm Bill Skarsgård. Like I'm being played by Bill Skarsgård right now. Right. As we said, I had a really good laugh at that. So the writing this year, from what I saw, was like hit or miss. Like the jokes that landed for me landed really well, and then and then I think like the Selena Gomez thing was just, she didn't have the I don't know, like she just missed that spark. But Mike, I hear again like what you're saying about how the producers have to work with a variety of talent, but she should be a good enough actress to read a teleprompter with a smile on her face. Just going back to the Selena Gomez thing, right? Like, I don't think you have to.
Really, she really rubbed you the wrong way.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you're really.
Like,
I mean, again, I don't think she's a very good actor to begin with. Like, I just don't. I don't really see.
You know who I thought also wasn't doing a great job with the teleprompter? She played Catwoman. Halle Berry. I didn't think she was very good either.
I can't explain that, but,
yeah, just the teleprompter. Having tried to read a teleprompter, I can't remember where, but I had to try to read a teleprompter once. It's not easy. I will give people that. Like, you have to be able to read quickly and kind of move on your feet. But I'm like, Halle Berry, come on. She felt clunky. Anyways. So
yeah, I would say the ceremony was definitely hit and miss. It was not as bad as some of the cringier ones we've seen. Sure. So I think I think it was definitely better than it's been. I still think it's not on the same level as some of the better ceremonies I've seen. The one that Hugh Jackman hosted, the first one Jimmy Kimmel hosted, because he kept taking shots at Matt Damon. Like, those kinds of things worked well, and I thought that they were really well hosted. So I don't think it's up there, but like I would see another Oscars hosted by Conan O'Brien. Like, I think he's proven he can handle it. This was his first time hosting. I think he was a good choice.
They agree pretty quickly, if I remember correctly. There's some years where we're literally waiting weeks before the show to find out the host. But if a host does well, typically they're offered the next year pretty soon after the Oscars. So have we heard any buzz about whether or not he's committing to a second one?
We've heard nothing.
Okay.
No, not yet.
And do you know anything about the ratings from last night?
No, I don't. I'm surprised. I'd be interested to hear what the ratings are, but I haven't heard much because they were also streaming on Hulu, which apparently had its own issues because Hulu cut things off near the end.
Would I have been able to watch that on Disney?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get it on Disney Plus because in Canada we have Hulu as part of Disney Plus, so you would have been able to get it there.
See, like, I could have been watching it on my Disney Plus. Instead, I signed on to CTV. What a nightmare. Anyways, it's one time a year, so
I watched it on ABC, so it was perfectly fine for me.
And you got all your American commercials.
I did get my American commercials, yeah. They're really, really pumping up this Suits show, the Suits LA show, because there was about 3 commercials with the guy who played Harvey Specter. Even though he's not even in it, like, he's not even in I think he's cameoing, but like, they're bringing him back and it's the whole thing.
I don't know anything about this Suits show other than Meghan Markle was on it. Is she going to be on the reboot?
No, because she left the show to get married, right, to begin with, and I don't think she's allowed to act anymore. Like, I don't think she can.
Well, they left. No, they left the. I don't want to get into Meghan Markle things. I know it's a very contentious topic, but
didn't we cover this for some reason? I thought
we could have
talked about it, but I don't know.
Eons ago. But as far as I know, they left the royal family, so she can do whatever she wants. If she wants to act, she certainly can.
I watched the original Suits show. It was. I mean, it's no Mad Men, but it was still decent. Yeah. I preferred Mad Men in terms of my shows set with Suits, I guess.
One's about an advertising agency in the 60s, and the other one's about
modern day lawyers. Yeah, but whatever. They all wear suits. They all look. Yeah,
office buildings.
That's right. Yeah, office building show. I rank Mad Men over Suits. So that's the Oscar ceremony. Let's dive into some of the big winners from the Oscars, and then later in the show we will reveal the winner of our Oscars.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
52 entries this year, so we'll go through some standings for a very short period of time. I thought we were going to have a nice sort of clean top 10 where there were no ties, and then that changed. But when you have 52 people and you can only score out of 23, ties are going to happen. Like, of mathematically, course. Ties are going to happen. And Taylor, there are a lot.
It's going to be like, and for number 5 spot, and you're going to list like 7 names.
That's right. That's how it's exactly listed. But I will say this. We for sure have a top 3. We have a winner's podium. We have a first, second, and third. and we also have a last place. So
And like very clear what you're saying. They're not
very
shared by
clear.
anyone.
No
Got it. Got it.
ties. By the end, the winner, the first, second, third place, our podium top three. You know, gold medal, silver. They're all not tied, and there is someone who has sole possession of last place.
I hope it's not me. We'll see.
Find out later in the show. Okay, let's talk about some big winners. I have a breakdown here also by movie because there's some interesting things that happened.
Well, hot take, Mike. Before you even start getting well, whatever, you can get into it. But I thought the Brutalist was going to sweep the. That's the big surprise for me.
The first big surprise to me is that I mean, there is one movie who ended up having, you know, the most wins, but in terms of it being relatively well spread out, I mean, you had The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Anora, Wicked, and Emilia Perez all had at least 2 Oscar wins. Not to mention, you know, other movies that were only nominated once or twice and won. So that's interesting. And Conclave had 1 win of its 8 nominations, which also surprised me a little bit that they wouldn't get other things. The Substance had 1 win of its 5. And the big sort of shutouts, I'd say, were 2 movies that had nothing. A Complete Unknown went 0 for 8. So had 8 nominations, did not win anything. And Nosferatu went 0 for 4. So those are kind of 2 big things.
I'm not as surprised about Nosferatu because I thought it was a little bit of a dark horse. It was released late in the year. And it's a horror movie, like a very stylized horror movie.
I don't know, like the hair and makeup production.
I thought
it had a chance to win at least one of those.
Fair. Yeah. That's fair. I guess I'm just not surprised. I am more surprised about A Complete Unknown. I thought
that's the one I'm not surprised about.
Oh, but I thought Timothée Chalamet has been winning awards.
Loves Timothée Chalamet, and it's interesting. Our pool was quite split between Adrian Brody and Timothée Chalamet. It was almost a 50-50 split. Almost.
But I feel like that was kind of indicative of the major award season. Like it seemed like, I don't know the stats, and it might not have been that close, but the race felt that close. Like it felt like, oh, Adrian Brody wins an award, then Timothée Chalamet wins an award. It seemed pretty equal. So it would be interesting to count the best actor awards they got this year. But I would say that, not having seen either of the movies, I don't know. Mike, did you end up watching either of them before the award show?
No.
So I have no idea what the performances were like, but based on buzz alone, I'm not surprised that Adrian Brody won. I think I voted in the pool for him, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'll have to. I mean, I've got our list here, but with 52 people, it's hard to find everybody. But yeah, I'll have to see later what you voted for. So Anora was kind of the big winner. 5 of 6 nominations. That
movie definitely did better than I thought it would.
Me too. I as the award show was going on, I really did think, okay, like everyone kind of has 1 or 2. This is going to be that year where no one really takes anything. Like I honestly thought, okay, director and picture are going to go to 2 different movies. Like that's what I thought was going to happen because it was so even throughout it. And then The Brutalist finally went on a run of like 3 in a row because they had nothing for most of the evening. And then they won 3 big awards in a row. And that's when I started thinking, okay, maybe The Brutalist will win a couple things. But yeah, Nora won 5 of its 6 nominations. So it had the most. The Brutalist had the next most with 3. And then a couple at 2, and then everyone
I
else
thought that it would have been swapped. I thought that The Brutalist would have kind of been the runaway with Anora getting only a couple, but it was swapped. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pleasantly surprised. As much as I said Anora was a bit risque, I do think it was a well-crafted film, so I think it's deserved.
I agree with like the pleasantly surprised, only because Anora, I would say, in terms of a bit more of a smaller film, it's an indie producing house. Like that's Neon Pictures or something. Like it's not one of the major studios. Normally The Brutalist, I think, would take home that. So I was also pleasantly surprised that they're kind of honoring this movie that was kind of a I don't know, it was kind of the little movie that could. Like, it just kind
Huh.
of started to get more and more
Here's an
nominations.
interesting question for you, Ike. And obviously, we have no way of knowing this, but I wonder if Honora picked up the Amelia Perez
So
votes.
we have no way of knowing that, but the timing would work out. So how the Academy works is the nominees get selected, and then there's a period of voting. So you vote again based on the nominees that are now have been selected. So there's 2 votes as a member of the Academy. Vote 1 to build the nominees. Vote 2 to actually vote on who wins. And that vote happened after all the controversy with Amelia Perez. So I would not be surprised if the world was different. Amelia Perez would have won a bunch of other awards than it did. I mean, I was surprised it won the 2 that it did. Like Amelia Perez, Wicked, and Dune Part 2 each won 2 awards. I was really surprised that Amelia Perez still won a couple of awards. I thought maybe they get shut up anything. I mean, the original song was the more surprising. Zoe Saldana, I thought, and I did vote that she would win Best Supporting still, but I still thought that wasn't a guarantee because of everything that happened. And in terms of our voting from our pool, it was definitely Zoe Saldana ahead, but it was pretty evenly spread out otherwise. Like, it wasn't that she even had over 50% of the votes. Like, a lot of people were thinking that Isabella Rossellini or Ariana Grande might win because of all the controversy. So yeah, we had some other kind of thoughts in there. But I am surprised that Amelia Perez still won something.
She Zoe Saldana, if I'm saying her name right, she had some her not her acceptance speech. Her acceptance speech has been warmly embraced by the internet, but apparently she allegedly had some controversial, not even controversial, Mike, but people did not like how she handled a question regarding the Mexican reception of Amelia Perez, and she essentially like downplayed it, but was like, I respectfully disagree. I don't think Mexico is the heart of this movie, but I'm willing to have a conversation with my Mexican brothers and sisters about that. And people are not liking those comments. Mike, have you
Wait,
seen anything online about that?
no, wait. She's saying Mexico isn't the heart of this movie?
Yeah. So someone
Isn't it
said,
set
I
in
know, it's
Mexico?
just stupid.
About
So
the Mexican drug cartel?
I don't have the specific quote in front of me, so I'm paraphrasing. But I believe it was I don't know if it was a Mexican reporter, but essentially someone asked her how does it feel to win, or something along the lines of that, like, given this win, what is your response to the Mexican community who did not like the portrayal of Mexico, despite Mexico being the heart of this movie? That's like a very convoluted way, but essentially saying,
Something like
this
that,
is
yeah.
Mexico's the heart of this movie, and the Mexican community did not embrace this film. How do you feel? And she would go, and she said, I do not agree that Mexico is the heart of this movie. It's the story of 4 women. This movie could have taken place anywhere. It just happens to take place in Mexico. The main thrust of this movie is about these 4 women. And I'll have to respectfully disagree with Zoe on this one. I think that the way that Mexico is presented, it feels like a character, rightly or wrongly, in this movie. So no, I think Mexico it's fair to say, is the heart of this movie.
I mean, now that you think of it though, like, I don't think the heart of Wicked is the land of Oz,
Right.
I feel like that's not it's not really about the
Oz.
land of Oz, it's about the greater struggle of humanity. It has nothing at all to do with that. And Nosferatu, also not set in, where's that, Germany?
Yep, it's Germany.
yeah, I don't think Germany's at the heart of that either.
And
yeah, no, he brings up a really good point. Why don't we just take every movie and change its setting, and let's see how that changes.
If it's different. But she made a good point. She's like, these women could be Russian, and it could be like a Russian story. Like,
but they weren't.
Yes, but they weren't. That's the thing. But they weren't.
But they weren't.
And I think the fact that if you reduced any country to its criminal elements, which they did with this movie, you're gonna have backlash. You know, like if it was so. Yes, I don't know. I thought it was like it was. I think she tried to give a very diplomatic answer, given that she had just won Best Supporting Actress, and the person was essentially, you know, being like, "No one likes this movie. How do you feel?" Like,
Yeah, she's trying to be diplomatic.
She was trying to be diplomatic. Like, she gave the best answer she could. What was she gonna say? Yes, the Mexican community hates this movie, and I feel horrible for winning this award. Like, is that what the reporter wanted her to say? Given the circumstances,
I think you can say, you know, something along the lines of, I think there's a lot more conversations to be had about this movie. Going into it, I was really drawn to the characters, regardless of the setting. As an actor, I do everything I can to bring these characters to life, and I hope that others will see this hard work. But I'm absolutely open to more discussions with the team behind this movie and the community that we're trying to speak to.
And I think she tried to.
Was that hard?
I think she
just came out with that.
Mike, she did that, but then she also added, but Mexico's not the heart of this movie.
But Mexico's not the heart of the movie. Yeah, but you see how easy it is to say all that, but take one sentence.
That's where she went wrong, right? Like, it's like, I respectfully disagree with what the community feels about this movie.
You can disagree all you want. I think you have to be a little smarter than that. Like, I don't understand. To me, this stuff isn't difficult. Like the way you answer questions to the media, the way you talk to people, like, I don't think it's as difficult as is kind of portrayed.
But not everyone
is so hard to do. It's not really. You just have to.
Not everyone has foot and mouth syndrome, Mike, which I do. So I understand what it's like to be put on the hot seat. It's a miracle I haven't been canceled after 7 years of this show.
But when hold on, wait.
It's her job, you mean?
Yeah, put on the hot seat.
Right.
Okay, if you're going to an awards ceremony and you think if I win, I won't be interviewed, you're stupid. Like, of course you're going to be interviewed. If you think you're not going to be asked about something that's in the media and that's controversial, you're also stupid. Like, you have to know these questions are coming. You could be prepared to answer them by simply thinking for 5 seconds before opening your mouth. Like, I
think it's the press junket, like, right, you immediately get your award and then you're like ushered through that room. Sure. That's I think that was the setting she was in. So, like, of course she should have expected that she was going to be interviewed, because that's part of the Oscars. They corral you into that room and then they ask your immediate reaction. So you'd think I understand 100% where you're coming from, Mike. You would think that with the controversy of this movie, even if she isn't good at crafting statements, her publicist would have like a boilerplate answer for her to memorize. She's a good enough actress. But anyways, there's been controversy. Definitely controversy about her her acceptance. I don't want to say her acceptance speech, but the post sort of award press junket. Do you think she should have won that award? I don't think so.
I mean, I thought she was fine. Like, I do think she is a good actor, and I don't think she's received a lot of attention because she's been in like a million like kind of big blockbuster movies. But I do think she's very good. Okay, here's my hot take. This was a really weak category. This was a weak category this year.
Who was in it? It was the
Isabella Rossellini from Conclave. Right.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande from Wicked.
Okay.
And then Felicity Jones from The Brutalist, and Monica Barbaro from A Complete Unknown.
Not Margot Qualley?
No, she wasn't nominated.
See, that's surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, she would have been, I think, more of a heavy favorite if she was in here, but she wasn't nominated.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, to me, it was a bit of a weaker category. Like, I just didn't see one person sort of elevating beyond this, but I thought she was going to win because that's the way kind of things were going. I don't know if she wouldn't have necessarily been my pick. I mean, again, I probably would have nominated 5 completely different people for this category. So,
I guess I thought, naively, I thought that the controversy surrounding this movie would have deterred people from voting for her.
Yeah,
But
I guess they just saw past that for her specifically.
And I'm of two minds in the sense that I don't think you should penalize the whole cast for the actions of, you know, a select few. But I also don't think this was a good movie.
No. Regardless of the controversy, at the end of the day, Emilia Perez being nominated for 13 Oscars is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is not one of the best movies of the year. And that's what the Oscars is really supposed to kind of be about, or at least the idea of picking best art. It's a very difficult thing. But in my opinion, Emilia Perez was not in the top anything. Like, I just thought it was a bad movie. So, I think that, am I 100% surprised? No, but I did think if they were going to win an award, it would have been this one, and they wouldn't have won anything else. But apparently, the original song category was also not very strong this year. Like, there wasn't.
I don't think I had heard of any. I had not heard any of those songs.
Most of the songs were really
bad. I've heard of the movies, obviously. Like, I heard of Sing Sing. I hadn't even heard of the people who wrote the songs, except for Randy Carlisle, and Elton John, and the woman. Yeah, those are. Anyways, what are you gonna do? One of the movies I hadn't even heard of, and I couldn't even tell you the name of the movie. It was. It looks like it was set during World War II.
Ah.
Is this ringing any bells to you? Had you heard of this movie?
I think I know which one you're talking about, and no.
So that there you go. And one of my coworkers was upset that they didn't perform the numbers, but I think they did away with performing the songs since at least last year. Like, I think that's not new that they're not performing the songs. Am I wrong?
They didn't do them last year, and I think that's a thing they're not doing anymore
to save time.
I guess so, but then don't replace it with another tribute to 007. They did this melody of music for 007. It was too long. It was too much.
And they did a Quincy Jones
that's right.
Tribute, but I didn't watch that because I thought I don't know enough about Quincy Jones to want to stay up for this. So
Queen Latifah sang something from The Wiz.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be.
It was exactly.
Shouldn't that tribute be longer than the James Bond tribute? But it sounds like
it was not.
I could have stayed up. I was assuming it was going to be as long as the James Bond one.
No. It was much shorter. It was a song.
Fair enough. But Queen Latifah is a very talented woman, so I'm sure it was a very good performance.
No, I mean, she can sing, and it was a good performance, but I could have done without it.
Fair.
The other kind of big categories here that's worth mentioning. So from some of the production categories, Wicked won for costume design. The Substance won for hair and makeup.
Good. Well deserved.
And then for production design, that went to Wicked as well. And then Dune won sound and visual effects. So those were some of the kind of behind the scenes production awards that went away. So Wicked, Dune Part 2, The Substance won kind of the main or major production awards.
I think I'm not surprised that Wicked won the awards that it did. I think to me it was sort of between Nosferatu and Wicked, and I'm not surprised that Wicked got the production awards.
I really thought that this category for hair and makeup and for production design were the areas where if Nosferatu was going to get something, it would be
this
one
would
of
be
those.
it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Who won? Sorry, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm so glad Wicked didn't win for sound.
My question is, and you might have planned to get to this. Who won best cinematography?
So best cinematography went to The Brutalist.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Nicole said that it looked really good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Now, again, in terms of our audience, Nosferatu got a lot of votes for cinematography.
Well, that movie looked beautiful, so I'm not surprised.
So it seemed like our audience was kind of more split between The Brutalist and Nosferatu. And then, I mean, Dune got a couple, as well. I think 16% but people still picked Dune. So there were some kind of splits as to what happened there. But yeah, I think I picked The Brutalist. I had heard that it's like a really well shot, well put together movie, so it kind of makes sense that was its first award of the night. Like the Brutalist hadn't won anything, and then it won 3 in a row. Like it won cinematography. I can't remember what the other one was, and then at Best Actor for Adrian Brody. Like he had done nothing all night, and then won 3 awards in a row.
There you go. That's sometimes the way it happens.
And then, some other of your favorite categories, film editing went to Anora. That was when Anora won film editing. I thought, okay, there you go. Like you gave them their award. Like that's what I thought.
You gave them the pat on the back. Good job,
That's right.
Anora.
That's right. But then it took home original screenplay as well, which I think is something that I didn't think they were going to recognize it in that way, but Anora got original screenplay as well. And then I think there wasn't a huge surprise here. Adapted screenplay went to Conclave.
Yeah. The only award of the night?
For Conclave, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only one it got. Yeah, it didn't get any of the other ones. I mean, it had 8 nominations and only won the one, unfortunately. But so it did take home adapted screenplay, which is a big award. Like it's one of the big ones. The writing awards are always big ones. So Conclave and Anora took home the 2 writing awards, and that did not surprise our Oscars pool, as it was well over 50%.
I'm happy with those.
Yeah, I think it kind of makes sense, and I don't think, honestly, aside from original song, I wasn't super shocked by anything. I was happy that I'm Still Here won international over Emilia Perez.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean that would have been awkward. And again, I think my sort of like big wahoo moment of the night was the sound not going to Wicked. I got very excited about that, because I think I might have been done if Wicked won for sound.
Were they nominated? I guess it's Best Original Song, so they wouldn't have been Wicked wouldn't have been in that category, right?
No, so for the song categories, best, so there's original score, which went to The Brutalist, which Wicked was included in that. Wicked, Conclave, Emilia Perez all lost to The Brutalist. But for original song, no, none of Wicked's songs would be considered original,
right?
Because of the show. So the original song had two songs from Emilia Perez, and then the Elton John documentary Sing Sing had a song, and then I think the one you were talking about is the 688 was the one that
maybe
I don't think anyone's heard of. So yeah, Wicked was not qualified for any of those. Now sometimes, like Cats had an original song and a couple.
It's not unusual. It's not unusual.
Well, they want it because they want to get nominated, right? So they'll write one, but they didn't write one for Wicked.
But I wouldn't be surprised if, and I could be wrong because I don't really know anything about the sequel. Are they not adding another song to the sequel? Because otherwise, how will it be long enough for it to be a movie?
I don't know what they're doing music-wise to the sequel, because they basically have a second act to do. So Wicked's second act is not as strong as its first, and all the big well-known songs are done. So
that's why
they're doing Act 2 essentially.
I wouldn't be surprised if they add some songs to Act 2. But maybe, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. What do I know?
I don't know their plan. We'll find out. So yeah, those are the big awards. I mean, that's really the big awards of the night. As we mentioned or alluded to, Mickey Madsen won for Anora for Best Actress. Director went to Sean Baker, who's the director of Anora, and Best Picture also went to Anora. They won all those big awards right at the end of the night. Pretty big night for Anora. I do think the Demi Moore thing was a surprise. I really thought Demi Moore was going to win for The Substance. So that to me was a surprise. I wasn't expecting The Substance to really get, only won 1 of 5. I thought they'd at least have 3 awards in there. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise for me.
If only. I think Demi Moore was really great, and I don't know enough about her earlier filmography to know like how amazing she is. She may be amazing, Mike. I don't of the 80s and 90s movies I watched, she didn't really factor into that videography for me. But I'm surprised they didn't do which the Academy certainly does often. They'll give an award to someone even if this wasn't their best performance, but they want to honor their career. So I guess I'm surprised they didn't do that for her, and it went to Mickey, what's her last name? Mickey what?
Madison.
Mickey Madison, who is a rising star. Like, she has plenty of time to win an Oscar, right?
Yeah, she's 25, yeah.
So, I guess that's a little bit surprising. I think she did like I said, Demi Moore I think did great. Do I think she deserved Best Actress? I would have to kind of think a little bit more on that. But again, you'd think that they would have been like, you've had a great career. This is sort of a renaissance for you. We're going to, do you a solid. I thought that's how it was going to go.
Yeah, that was kind of why I think it was a bit of a surprise.
Because other people felt the same way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I also thought it was a well-deserved performance, and I did think that was the way it was going to go. But yeah, again, like the Best Actor, this felt like a 2-horse race the whole time.
Sure.
Like it was going to be one of the two, kind of the same with the Best Actor category. So I think that it kind of still made sense. But yeah, it did surprise me a little bit. And I thought The Substance would win a little bit more than it did. But it still got the one win and got some nominations. And that's kind of the key. I think really the only movie that's probably really disappointed is A Complete Unknown. Because 0 for 8, that's
I am surprised that it didn't win anything.
Yeah. Well, Taylor, I think it's time to reveal the winners of our Oscar pool for 2025.
Drum roll, please.
Well, I mean, a couple things to remind people. Because Taylor, you've been quite critical of people not taking advantage of their winnings. But if you win the first place, you get an opportunity to come on this show.
Exactly.
And host your own show or just produce your own show. If you don't want to host it, you don't have to. But Taylor, you've been quite critical of our lack.
No one has come on. And there's been probably 50-50 in terms of people actually taking a step on the offer of producing. But
yeah, probably about 50-50. And yeah, you've been very public about your claim that no one has come on. You've been very, very public about it. I think what we know about you the most are the things you hate about film and this. I feel like
I'm consistent.
So we had, as I said, we have 52 entries here.
That's pretty good.
So there were a lot of ties, and that's kind of the difficulty of going through this. So I think, we're obviously going to post it, but I think I'll just run through it. Let's just run through this, but let's start at the bottom.
Okay.
And work our way to number
Also,
one.
I want to say, Mike, I think I said this off air, not on air. I feel that I did well this year, but I'm ready to eat crow.
Do you have a prediction on where you are? Like if you had to pick?
I think I'm high middle.
Okay.
I don't think I'm in the top 3 by any means. I think I'm in the middle, but at the top of the middle.
Okay, top middle. All right. Well, here we go. So in 52nd place,
Taylor.
In last place, it's Taylor. No, it's not.
Oh my god! No. Oh my gosh! My heart just stopped. You got me, Mike. Okay, who is it?
No, you did not.
Sorry, who is it?
It is Brandon Luff.
Okay.
So Brandon Luff, you are our last place finisher.
With how many points?
Well, should I go through the? I mean, it's
just because they're we don't have enough time, but because of last.
Just for last. Okay, for last place. All right, hold on. I'll quickly pull it up then because we should. But Brandon, we're going to send you an email because we're also going to invite you onto the show.
That's right.
That's honorary last place. Brandon had 2 correct of 23.
Hey, better than 0.
51st place was Jane McKinney. 50th was Ashley A. And now we get into a bunch of ties.
Okay.
So tied for 48th place, Cole Johnson and Colvin. Tied for 41st, there's a lot of them here, Carrie Lynn, Katie S., Shane Cole, Michael Milton, Vance, Stephen Hill, and Lori.
If that's That's Tyler Vance. Whew.
I don't think it's Tyler Vance.
Okay, because I was going to say.
There's a Vance and there's a Tyler Vance.
Okay.
Tied for 38th place, Andrew Taggart and Jonathan Quinn.
Okay.
Tied for 30th place, this is also a lot of people. So tied for 30th, Kathy, Matt Sultan, Fernando, I can't say your last name. Fernando, Leanne, Michael N, Ethan, Cooper Stemson, and Todd. So that's Todd. Just some people just do one name. Some people go for the full name.
I like it.
We're good with both. Tied for 22nd is Emma Crispo, Shane, Ashton, Zan Zaney, I might finish last, Ashley O, Becken, and Jamie. So I might finish last was wrong. Tied for 22nd.
Good for you.
Great name. Tied for 14th, Nicole, Austin, Akil, Sam, Cole, Sam C, Ivan, and Conan for president.
Okay.
Are tied for 14th. Okay. Now here's where it gets even more complicated. So now these are the names that are all tied for 7th. Because this is basically 7th through 13th.
Right.
And you're all tied. Tyler Vance, Kira, Ian C, Spencer, Carly Steinman, Cody, and Lily.
Okay.
So that leaves us to our top 6. Now, 2 things need to be noted here.
Neither
of our names have come up.
Oh, I'm getting nervous and excited.
Yeah, so here we go. Top 6 in 6th place, Taylor.
Woohoo! By myself?
You by yourself in 6th place.
More than better than upper middle. Top 10. Right.
Now we have tied for 5th place. So 2 people are tied for 5th. They're tied for the 5th place spot. Dennis Delane and Ronald Coleman. So there you go, tied for 5th. Then in 4th place, me. Just outside of the top
Mike,
3.
You thought you were going to take it all this year.
I was positive. I was so confident, maybe too confident, that I was going to take it all as it was going on. I'm like, I'm doing really well again this year. Like, I'm really doing well. I finished 4th. All right, here are our top 3. In 3rd place, Dan M. So Dan M. finishes 3rd place. In 2nd place, our 2-time champion Ruth finished 2nd place. And that means the winner this year of the 2025 Oscars pool is Katie Wilson.
Whoa! Yahoo! How many did Katie get?
Katie got 20 out of 23.
Wow. She is an overachiever. Good for you, Katie.
There was a moment where I was convinced she was going to go 23 for 23.
Well, it was like if anyone could do it,
it was consistently right. And I was always 2 behind her. And then
mad.
Oh, I was so mad. And then she finally missed one and I got it. And I'm like, I closed the gap. Now I'm only 1 behind her. Like, that's perfect. And then her streak continued and I got a couple wrong and really dropped off. But it was close between myself, Katie, Ruth, Dan, Ronald Coleman was up there for a bit. Even you, Taylor, were like keeping pace for a bit. It was actually pretty close. But Katie ended up pulling away by quite a few. She had a couple more than the 2nd place. So she did a very good job.
Good job, Katie. You know,
chances are Katie will come on the show.
I was going to say, if anyone was going to come on the show, it would be Katie. She's been on the show before. She's quite comfortable coming on the show. So the question will be, how will she produce the episode? Because typically she comes on for book adaptations.
Yeah. Well, she gets to choose, right? That's the thing. It's her choice. And that's what people, I think, never really understood. You get to do whatever you want. You can come on this show and you can be on the show. You cannot be on the show, but you get to control everything we do. If you want us to talk about a certain celebrity for 45 minutes, we'll talk about that celebrity for 45 minutes. If you want us to talk about a certain movie that you love, we will watch it and review it. Katie Wilson should be basically coming up with anything she wants because we're going to have to do it.
Same with the guy in the bottom. What's his name again?
Brandon.
We'll do whatever you want. Same goes
for
you.
And I definitely understand if people are hesitant to come on That's okay. It's not for everyone. Podcasting isn't the easiest thing. But if you still want to at least produce the episode, we'll just work with you to come up with your ideas. Because as you said, Taylor, in the seven winners we've had, none of them has come on. But some of them have opted to produce episodes. So we just kind of got a sense of what they liked. They told us what we wanted to do. I think Austin did like, okay, here's like a game you're going to play and here's a movie you're going to review. Like you can do basically that.
Austin continues to be our producer. So you can also just give your rights to Austin and he can produce.
That's right. That's right. You can just communicate and say, hey, we want this for the episode. And that's what will happen. So I think Taylor, you're going to be very happy that your overwhelming criticism of the winners of our Oscar pool will finally be defeated, because Katie Wilson will definitely be joining this show. I have no doubt in my mind she'll come up with something cool. And she's not just a book person.
That's true.
She's got other interests. I'm sure she'll come up
History.
with something. I can't name any of them.
History. Ballet. Is that her big thing? Tom Hanks.
Oh, a Tom Hanks marathon.
Don't give her any ideas.
Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But I think it's good. I think Katie did a great job. Wait, hold on. What's happening? This is unprecedented. Is that I don't know.
Nervous
I don't know
laughter.
I don't know what's happening here. We appear to have another potential guest coming on the show right now. Is that Tyler Vance?
Hello.
What this is so unpredictable and unexpected, but what are you doing here?
Well, I'm here to right a perceived wrong that was perpetrated on this very show some weeks ago.
Okay, tell us. What's the wrong, Tyler? What's happening?
It came to my attention a little while ago that it was stated that indeed no one who has ever won the Oscar pool has ever taken advantage of the call to come aboard and actually produce their own episode. And that's not true. I actually came aboard and they did a whole episode on animation where we talked about multiple things, including the movies Waltz with Bashir and Perfect Blue and Boy in the World. And Mike told his friends not to listen to that episode because it was, and I quote, a weird one.
Tyler
wow,
Vance.
Taylor, how bad do you feel, Taylor? How bad do you feel? Tyler is calling you out on your own show.
I feel ambushed right now. This is very rude, but luckily it's Tyler Vance, so I'll forgive him. To be fair, Tyler, I remember that animation episode, but I didn't realize that was connected to the Oscar pool. I thought you just came on to talk animation. So my apologies.
You might have thought that because we ended up doing the episode sometime in like early summer, because it took a very long time for us to get on board and actually do it. So that might be the reason why that doesn't strike you as a very Oscar-y movie.
Wow, Mike really let me dig myself into a hole this episode with me being like, yeah, no one's come on. Only half have produced.
I sure did.
You had me waiting in the wings.
I unapologetically watched you dig that hole for yourself. And I thought I'd have to prompt you a million times. Nope. But you just kept talking about it. I kept digging. And talking about it. And I'm like, oh, this is
I even talked about my foot and mouth syndrome this episode, Tyler.
That's right.
Well, my deepest, sincerest apologies, Tyler Vance, because you're one in a million, and I didn't mean to put a dark tarnish on your memory. So
I mean, no, I don't apologize, because if the episode he did was more memorable, we would have been able to remember it. You know what I mean? Like, whose fault is this really?
I really liked the movie, Tyler. That was it was kind of the time traveling romance one.
Your Name.
Yes, I really liked Your Name, and then
that was a good one.
I think The Perfect Blue, the one with the pop singer.
Yes, yeah.
That I was not prepared.
Was this all the same episode?
Was
this all in the same episode? Oh wow!
I was not prepared for that episode. That was something. That movie was something. But otherwise,
it's very rare that I actually get a successful hit. Usually, I send movies out to be slaughtered on this show, and then when those ones came back with positive reviews, I'm like, "Hey, look, miracles can happen."
That's true, and it really was a miracle. Well, Tyler, thank you for taking part in our corrections part of our episode and coming on and really honestly just making sure Taylor understands that history is not something to be forgotten, but something to be lived.
Is this going to be a regular segment? Tyler corrects? I can just
No, well, a couple weeks ago we started to do corrections where I would just correct things that Taylor and I said that could possibly offend
In real
somebody.
time?
In real time. Yeah, I would kind of note them and then go back to it. But yeah, sometimes I guess it would be more powerful if a different voice came on and said, "You're all crazy. Here are the things you said."
And Tyler has a very good memory. He has I don't know if that's your science brain, but you have a very good memory, a canny, maybe uncanny memory for some of the things that have gone on the past 7 years. So thank you for that, Tyler. Thank you. And
you're most welcome.
Also that it's a pain, but we love you.
Yep, I've been told that. Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of our Oscars recap episode. Thank you to special guest Tyler Vance for correcting Taylor. And thank you to all our fans. And we will post the final standings that we ran through on social media this week. So look out for that and our Oscar winners to give us their episode and come on for now the second time as we've been corrected. Thank you, everybody.
Wait, Mike, you almost forgot.
What?
We're having a mailbag episode next week. So
Oh,
I have to correct the corrector.
Right. No, you know what? Tyler, you're still here. Can you just tell everyone that we're doing a mailbag next week?
We're going to be doing a mailbag episode next week, and I'll write in. It's like much to Mike's unhappiness. I will write in one of my patented novel-length emails.
There you go.
Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. It is a project of Soul One Arts Inc. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Had Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.